Alright, so I'm going to refute my advocate's main claim that food additives / preservatives have a negative effect on people. Well, the secondary claims were food using additives causes harm to human health, and food additives are indirectly linked to the social skills of children. Well, I'm also going to state why food additives have more benefits than negative effects. So, food using additives causes harm to human health, and his 2 points were development of disease and disorders and jeopardizes pregnancy. Well, his first source was through the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, and I read up on this source, and every single one of the additives that were that they announced or they wrote down was all of them said basically not clearly studied or were on the allergy side, not on the asthma side of the foundation. So basically, it really doesn't have effect on asthma, but on the allergy aspect of the additives. And obviously, you're not gonna eat something that you're allergic to, so you're gonna not eat those additives. And then the second source was that from a website called traditionaloven.com, and it's dangerous food preservatives / colors, flavors, and enhancers to avoid. Well, it's basically a website that had a list of what you should avoid and had no real backup to why or any sources. And the website itself isn't really reliable. It's just kind of like a blog page on food. And then he had his third source, which was from the webmd.com, which is the 7 truths about common food additives. And I read up on all the listings of the 7, and none of them have negative effects on people, but only one, which was MSG, which was linked to obesity. But some of them were like high fructose corn syrup, which I looked up, and the American Medical Association recently stated that there is a scant evidence to support the idea that high fructose corn syrup is any worse than cane sugar. And aspartame, which is also linked to asthma, but it states here that from the FDA, for more than 3 decades, research has found aspartame to be safe, and today it's true for more than 100 countries. And also another study through the National Cancer Institute that compared people who drank beverages with aspartame and people who didn't, and they said that people who drank increased amounts of beverages containing aspartame did not have greater risk of lymphomas, leukemias, or brain cancer. So then it comes to the second point, that it jeopardizes pregnancy. Well, I looked up through a website, Parenting Weekly, and it said there's no direct relation with food additives and unhealthy pregnancy. And also, it listed some of the additives that you should avoid, but I don't have a direct result with what affects the child. More of a, like I said, MSG, it reduces water retention to the mother, and also olein, which is a food additive that just depletes vitamins and minerals, which is necessary for the pregnancy, but it really doesn't have a direct effect on the child. So, but advocate states that it develops disease and disorders, which isn't none of the sources actually try to prove this, and also it doesn't develop diseases or disorders or jeopardizes pregnancy. So this actual claim itself is invalid because he has no good sources to support it. So the advocate's next claim is food additives are directly linked to the social skills of children. Well, basically he just tries to link food additives to food obesity and how that links to a decrease in social skills of children, where he has no evidence to back that up, and the only real additive that produces obesity is MSG. So if you were to eat MSG every day, obviously you'd probably get obese, but then there's no link to the social skills of children. So this actual claim has no evidence or anything. So there's really no support to his actual claim, his primary claim. So the next point is that food additives are benefit more than negative effect, are beneficial and are more than negative effects, or something like that. So preservatives are basically help reduce food spoilage and therefore keep the food fresh and reduce the loss of food and reduce food poisoning. And also food flavorings, it increases the flavor of food, restores a lot of flavor during the food process, and adds flavor to taste of food. And there's a lot of additives and vitamins and supplements in food, such as like omega acids in eggs, and also like vitamin D in milk and antioxidants in fruit and vegetables. So there was a study by the Journal of American Dietetic Association that they looked into a college cafeteria and found that when they gave scalloped potatoes and stuffed shells offered in the school cafeteria that looked dry to students, didn't select them as often, indicating that the appearance of food influences the food choice. So basically, the reason for food additives are to make them more appealing to us, and also to to preserve them and benefit ourselves, so that food is more lasts longer and also tastes better than if we were to just have no additives. So my advocate's main claim was that food additives / preservatives have negative effects on people. His secondary claims were that food using additives causes harm to human health, and food additives are indirectly linked to the social skills of children, and that food additives have more benefits than negative effects. Thank you.
The time, please.
6:08.
You start off effectively labeling the main and secondary issues, but once you get into the body of the speech, it just sounds like, and the next claim, and the next claim, and the next claim, so they do have a tendency to run together a little bit. I thought your argument about the food additives and distinguishing allergies and asthma was a little bit confusing. Did the advocate say that it was causing asthma, or did they say that there are allergic reactions to some of the foods? You need to explain more clearly what the advocate's claim here is, so we can understand if your argument really makes much sense. Then you make the assertion, kind of in passing, that of course you wouldn't eat food that you're allergic to, but that assumes that people are aware of their allergies, or that they are aware of what is contained in the food. Often additives are put into food and people might not be aware of them, and that, I suppose, is one of the problems that the advocate's talking about. And so I think you've kind of circled around the issue on that instead of confronting it directly. I think you do make a good challenge here to the idea that the additives have some kind of danger to them. You've got an argument about aspartame and another one about MSG, and then there's high fructose corn syrup and those kinds of things. And you're trying to minimize the impact that they have there. And I think you've got okay counterclaims on that. It could be a little bit stronger. One of the problems here is that you frequently are explaining what the issue is. It often sounded like you're telling us what your process was in going through this instead of making the speech. In other words, it was like, so I went to this website and I found this kind of thing. And just tell us, here's my claim. What the advocate said is not accurate. My proof is from the very same website that they used, or from this particular text, or here's an article that appeared in the New York Times, and just be a lot more direct. You don't need to kind of tell us the story in that situation. I think that just sidetracks us a little bit. You've got two challenges on reasoning about the relationship of the evidence to the claims on the next 2 points. They're okay challenges. I'm not sure that they required an extensive amount of preparation, but they're the kinds of things that I think you could say almost immediately after the speech ended. And then we're on the listing thing again, and it really feels like we've got another claim and another claim and another claim. I think that maybe the advocate's argument originally was problematic, and that could be part of the issue with the structure here. Your counterclaim on preservation and flavoring is an interesting one, but you need to explain what it means more, and it basically comes down to that the additives, there's a reason that those additives exist. They provide some benefit. And one of the benefits is that people will eat the food more, and the other benefit is that they'll get greater nutrition out of the food. And keep it simple. Remember that KISS acronym? Keep it simple.